Data centers have emerged as a key issue in the upcoming midterm elections. Now, if you've heard about data centers, chances are you probably don't like them. A new survey from the University of Pennsylvania shows that 61% of Americans oppose the construction of data centers in their area. This is a huge spike. It's up from 49% in the same poll back in March. And it crosses party lines. 69% of Democrats and 54% of Republicans now oppose new data centers in their area. An internal GOP memo reported on by Axios today notes how politically toxic data centers have become. The memo warns that Ohio Republican Senator Jon Husted may lose his re-election bid to his Democratic challenger, the former Senator Sherrod Brown, in large part because Brown has tied Husted to support for data centers. According to the memo, quote, if he loses, meaning Husted, and data centers get the blame, politicians across the country will take notice and they will not go near the next one. This has become a sleeper issue for the entire election cycle, end quote. Axios also reports that sources within the GOP have told them that, quote, internal polls show data centers are as popular as spent nuclear waste, end quote. Now, amid all this uproar, it's important to slow down for a second and understand what data centers actually are before you go out fully hating on them. Data centers are not new. They are a range of specific types, but put simply, that data centers are buildings that contain large numbers of computer servers and storage. They're the backbone of the internet. Website hosting, cloud storage, streaming media, email, just about anything that you do that involves a device connected to the internet relies on a data center somewhere. The more online our society has become, the more need there is for data centers. Think of all the smartphones, all the streaming platforms, all the Wi-Fi connected devices that we didn't have 1 or 2 decades ago. But that's not it. And here's the big part. The recent boom in data center construction is largely tied to the emergence of artificial intelligence technology. That has pushed the demand for computing power, which requires new data centers, ever higher. According to analysis by Axios from December, nearly 3,000 new data centers are under construction or planned across the United States, adding to the more than 4,000 already in operation. But while data centers may be the backbone of the technology upon which we all rely, there are several significant drawbacks to them, and people are now taking notice. For one, they spew harmful and toxic chemicals into the air. According to the Southern Environmental Law Center, one data center built by Elon Musk's xAI in Mississippi includes dozens of unpermitted gas turbines releasing smog-forming pollution, soot, and hazardous chemicals like formaldehyde. Southern Environmental Law Center has filed a lawsuit against xAI, arguing that this violates the Clean Air Act. Data centers also need a monumental amount of energy in order to operate. Also, as Consumer Reports notes, a January 2026 report predicts that U.S. data centers' total combined energy demand will nearly double between 2025 and 2028, which is like adding a country with the energy needs of Spain in just 3 years. And that means power could cost more for everyday consumers. A Bloomberg analysis found that in areas with high concentrations of data centers, electricity costs as much as 267% more than it did 5 years ago. Data centers also use a huge amount of water to cool down all of that equipment. Up to 5 million gallons of water every day, as much as 16,000 plus average U.S. households, according to Environmental Protection Agency estimates. To make the situation worse, about 2/3 of the data centers built since 2002 are in areas already experiencing water stress. That's according to a Bloomberg News investigation. And while big tech companies and their allies tout the job creation potential of data centers, and while these projects can create some short-term construction jobs, it's a very different story once data centers are up and running. A 2025 review by Business Insider found that on average, a data center employs 150 workers. Some have as few as 25 employees. In some cases, it's even lower. One data center in Rockland County, New York, owned by J.P. Morgan Chase, employs 5 people full-time. It's currently in the midst of a massive expansion, which will add 1 permanent job to the community, according to the Rockland County Times, citing official application documents. So the project is receiving $77 million in tax breaks and subsidies, which, according to the Rockland County Times, makes for, quote, the highest amount of subsidies and tax breaks per permanent job anywhere in the country. $77 million in tax breaks and 1 job. 38 states offer dedicated tax initiatives to data centers. And amid all this public backlash, Democrats and Republicans alike are turning against data centers. President Donald Trump remains a staunch supporter. Last month, his administration announced a plan to repurpose federal land to build data centers. And today he said that Americans should welcome data centers into their communities, calling them beautiful. Joining me now, and thankfully we've got one of these guys, is our expert, MS Now senior reporter Josh Einiger. He's done extensive and important reporting for MS Now on data centers, and I suspect we'll be doing a great deal more of it. Thank you, first of all, for being up with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I know you're way ahead of me. You're PhD level on this stuff.
Oh, I don't know.
But I want to bring this back to entry level. Right? Data centers are big server farms. We've had them for a long time. We've always had them. But something has happened with the scope, the consumption of energy, the need for water, the noise, that has caused people to associate them in a way that you didn't have a negative view about a server room.
Absolutely. So it starts, I think, this chapter of the data center saga really starts with the beginning of this presidential term when President Trump signed an executive order making it easier to build these places when it comes to federal regulation.
Right.
And then from there, a lot of governors in majority red states followed suit when it came to state regulation. And so that began this boom of building these places that has started coinciding with the AI boom. Of course, the purpose of that executive order, in the words of President Trump and the White House, was in our ongoing and growing competition with China over AI.
Yes.
And so it seems like from the traveling that I've done, and I've seen a lot of these facilities, I've talked to a lot of people all over, this really does seem like the physical manifestation of people's fears about AI, which is this nebulous thing that no one really knows what it's going to do for them.
Right. And China and the U.S. are locked in this battle for AI supremacy. And there are a lot of people, irrespective of your party or your views, who would say America needs to be at the front end of this thing, which probably means America needs more AI, which probably means America needs more data centers. What's the thing that bumps up against people's will in this? Why are we seeing these polling numbers? Is it electricity prices? What is it that is the main objection here?
So, well, it's all of the things that you laid out so well in that run up, right? But at the end of the day, it seems to me it's a transparency issue. It's an issue about good government and people's ability to control what's going on in their own backyard. Because no one has made the case to individual Americans about why AI is good for them.
Right.
And why
we're using it, whether you're using it as ChatGPT or whatever it is, or everything you do in life, every company you use is using it. We're all using AI all the time.
Right. But you don't, there's a, it's human nature. You pick up your phone and you ask Google a question, or you ask for tech support for, your bank or something like that. And you're talking to a chatbot, but you don't see the data center, producing that content. Right. So that to me, from everybody I've talked to, they'll say, okay, we're in a race with China. I didn't sign up to be in this race with China. What does it mean to me? Instead, I have this giant facility in my backyard or down the block or in my county. Maybe it plugged into the power grid as a regular customer, just like I am. And now the power company needs to upgrade its services and we're all paying the price. Or maybe they're taking up a lot of water. Or maybe they're making noise and it's keeping me up at night. But what are they doing for me? And by the way, they're getting tax breaks to do it.
Right. There's also this issue where AI companies and their lobbies are supporting certain candidates, and the other candidate is now using that as an albatross. Right. So there's already this idea that there's too much outside money in politics, but a lot of the outside money right now is coming from AI.
Well, I mean, this gets to this seismic shift that you showed, that Penn survey, and there have been other surveys also. This shift that has happened with basically seemingly lightning speed, where it's becoming this huge political issue. And people, I mean, there's an organization called Humans First that has sponsored about a month ago these sort of No King style rallies, 140 of them across more than 40 states. And they had like 3 weeks to set it up. And it's Democrats and Republicans showing up, calling for change.